Algebra I 6.7a is a common strategy to factor polynomials. So this is just general strategy, okay? Always start by looking for a common factor to factor out first. Next, look at the number of terms the polynomial has. If it has 2 terms, figure out if it's the difference of 2 squares. If it's got 3 terms, figure out if this trinomial is the square of a binomial. If not, make a factoring table. Does it have 4 terms? Try factoring it by grouping to factor out a common binomial factor, and always factor completely, okay? Now, I've made 12 videos on all the ways to factor polynomials, and if you're very lost and confused, start watching video 6.2a and watch all 12 videos in their order. You shouldn't be confused after that. It's like walking into the middle of a movie and wondering why you don't understand the story. You have to go back and start watching from the beginning. So I'm going to go over them really quick as a review for the people who've seen the videos, and if you haven't, I'm going to have links to all these videos in the description of this one, and go back and watch them, okay? 2 terms. If a polynomial has 2 terms, so it's a binomial, right? Like 10a to the third minus 40a. Well, there's a common factor of 10a. We can factor out that 10a is the greatest common factor, so we get 10a times a squared minus 4 when we factor. Then we factor a difference of 2 squares. Because we've got that a to the second power minus 4, we can factor that as a difference of 2 squares, can't we? We end up with 10a times a plus 2 times a minus 2. Now we've factored out completely because there's nothing left to factor. And we covered this in video 6.2a, b, c, and d, okay? So if you're really lost, you need to see those 4 videos for 2 terms, all right? And for differences of squares. Now look. We've got x to the 4th minus 16. We can factor it as x squared plus 4 times x squared minus 4, and factoring a difference of 2 squares. But because we've got this x to the second power minus 4, we could do it again. We can factor a difference of 2 squares again. And it comes out as x plus 2x minus 2 with this x squared to the x squared plus 4 in the front of it, see? So he just kind of came along for the ride, and we factored that one out as a difference of 2 squares again. Now we factored completely. And again, this was in 6.2a, b, c, and d, just like that one, okay? Now, let's look at 3 terms. If we've got 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, we can write an equivalent expression like this x to the 4th power can be x squared times 2, see? And we can factor a trinomial square, the square of a binomial. We can find the product of 25 that is going to be the sum 10. See? It's got to be a negative 10, right? So it's going to be a negative 5, right? So, and if we multiply a negative 5 and a negative 5, we get the positive 25, right? But we'll get a negative 10 when we add them. So we end up with x squared minus 5, and the whole thing is squared. See? And we covered this in video 6.3a, b, c, and this table was covered in 6.4b, and we covered trinomials in 6.5 also, along with the 6.3 videos, okay? All right, 4 terms. We just did this one. This was the previous video. So if you missed it, when you have 4 terms in a polynomial, we can factor by grouping. We can make a group here and a group here, see? It's the same polynomial. I just put parentheses around this side and parentheses around that side. I made 2 groups. Then I'm going to factor each binomial. I'm going to factor this one, and I can factor out the 2x squared, can't I? And then I get an x plus 5 inside. And then the x plus 5 can be factored as 1x plus 5. So now we've got these 2 same binomial factors that we can factor out. And when we put it all together, we get 2x squared times x plus 5 plus 1x plus 5. Use a distributive property, see? And we take these 2 identical ones and put 1 here because it's factored out now. And we put our 2x squared and our 1 in the other parentheses as the other binomial factor, see? We covered that in video 6.6. That was the video right before this one. And again, like I said, all those links are going to be in the description of this video. It's going to be very long. But you really need to know these. You really need to rewatch these videos to be proficient. If you can do this factoring of polynomials very well and you understand the 12 videos that I've made, you'll get an A on your test. And if it means spending an hour watching 12 videos, big deal. You wouldn't give up an hour of your life to get an A on a math test? Shoot, I would. So, and you can watch them, and you can break it up. You don't have to watch them all back to back. You can take a break and watch some more and take a break. Now our next video is going to be 6.7b. We're going to talk about binomial expansion, and I'll explain that to you, okay? So remember, all those links are going to be in this description, all right? I really hope they'll help you. They should. I was very, very thorough, and I use a lot of color to help you figure out what's going on. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.